As far as Web Intelligence is concerned, we had three objectives. The first one was to develop, finally, a real dashboard inside Web Intelligence. Web Intelligence is positioned as a reporting tool, I would say, to generate transactional report. Now you can add to a document a real analytical report that you can name dashboard. So we have done what is necessary to achieve that. So the objective is about how can we reach new users, or I would say users who do not have access to the SAP BusinessObjects platform. To achieve that, we introduce a new output format called the Web Intelligence Document Extract, which is something that contains the data, the layout, the viz, the interaction, and this is completely autonomous, disconnected from BusinessObjects, and you can share it with whoever needed. And last but not least, because we are adding new capabilities into Web Intelligence, of course, we wanted to make sure that all the new things, all the new innovations we are proposing to all of you can be used by not only the experts, but also the beginners in BusinessObjects, specifically in Web Intelligence. Okay, this being said, I'm going to start a short demo of what I mean. Okay, do you see my screen? Yes, okay. I'm going to make it full screen. Here we go. You can still see it, perfect. So this is the BI 2025 Launchpad, and instead of showing you what I've just explained, we're going to start with the data mode, with the data, which is important when you want to create a dashboard or a report. For the data mode, I want to quickly remind you what we wanted to achieve with this new capability in BusinessObjects. So to access the data mode, which is available in the BI 4.3 Service Pack 4, you just have to select data here. You will enter the new interface that proposes you several things. The first one is the ability to view all the data contained in your document, whatever the query is. For example, here I have a query on e-fashion universe, the second query on HANA, SAP HANA. I have some data coming from Excel and some others coming from a TXT file. I can preview all of them, right? That's the meaning of the screen in the upper section of the screen. I can do this second query, I can view the third query, and I can view the last query, of course. Not only can I preview my data, because I can see all the data set if I want. This is quite easy. I can explore them. And exploring the data is a kind of being able to see every occurrence, every lines aggregated, for example, for year. I can see that for year I have only three things, 2017, 2018, and 2019. I can do this for everything. Not only can I explore the data, but I can change the data in one click. We call this transformation. For example, if I want to change y.2020 in 2020, I have predefined actions such as uppercase, lowercase, replace, trim, fill. But if I want to replace, I just have to type y.something, replaced by nothing. And that's it. And my transformation is applying directly for the dimension here. Same thing for quarter, for example. If I want to change that, I just have to click on replace, type the string I would like to be replaced, choose by what, here's nothing, validate, and that's it. So as you can see, oh, sorry. This is really easy. You can achieve that really in one click. And this is already available to all of you since the BI 4.3 Service Pack 4. The last thing you can do is to synchronize the different queries. Here I have 4 queries. I have sales from 2017 to 2019 and sales from 2020 to 2022. What I can do, of course, I can join the two datasets by choosing append, which will add the data from the first query to the second query and generate what we name a virtual group here in green. This is pretty powerful. Why? Because immediately after this join action or append actions, I immediately can preview the result of these synchronizations. So this is really easy to use, and this is dedicated for not only the IT department, but also for the power user who have this kind of use case. We want to access the corporate data for universities, but want to synchronize data coming from a universe with a local Excel file or a local TXT file or whatever. And they can do this really step by step. The idea behind the scene is I have 4 queries, but at the end, I want only one data set that are going to be used to create my report, or if I want, I can share it with my users in order to create another web intelligence document. And to achieve that, you introduce, of course, the ability to hide all the data sets, all the objects that you do not want to expose to your end user. Okay, this until now, all the things I've just mentioned and all the things I've done is already available since the BI 4.3 Service Pack 4. Now let's talk about what we introduced with the BI 2025. Okay, if we come back to, for example, the merged dataset here, you can transform your data thanks to the formula editor. You can do this directly on an existing column or an existing dimension. For example, you just have to click to select one state and click on formula. And here we go. Here you have access to most of the formula language to apply any transformations that you would like, right? So this is really powerful. You can even use an if then else statement in your formula to transform your data. Here, I'm going to do a simple concatenation. I'm going to concatenate state with city. And here we go. Validate. And here I have California and Los Angeles. So that's one option. The second option is to create a new variable. We call this variable, but in fact, this can be a dimension which is part of your dataset. So you have to open here the available object, second plus, formula editor will open. You decide if it is a dimension, measure, or a detail. Here we're going to call this test variable. I'm going to do exactly the same things, right? I'm going to concatenate city. Here we go. Plus up space and state, just to make things simple. And validate. And what it will have generated is a new column in your dataset. Okay, here there is a mismatch. I have some names that repeat because I'm using the state here, which is composed of California, Los Angeles, plus Los Angeles, which gives me this very long string. But the fact is, everything is dynamic, which means that, for example, if I decide to transform in uppercase city, the new added column will also be in uppercase as a result, right? And the last thing, the new added column here is not a variable. This is considered as a new dimension, which is part of the cube here. Right? And this will be displayed as a dimension and not an added variable, which means that when you will share this dataset with your end user, you will completely hide the complexity of the things we have done in the data mode to them. They will only see the resulted objects in this case. So that's a new thing, the ability to transform your data thanks to the formula language. And the second thing we have improved in the data mode is the operator. So right, I mentioned you have the append, but with the BI 2025, you are adding the right join here and the right join without intersection, which means that you have the full list of operations of operator to join your dataset to create whatever you want. And that's it. That's all I wanted to show you regarding the data mode with BusinessObjects BI 2025. Now let's come back to the core of the innovation we introduced with BI 2025. Like I said, our first objective was to provide you the ability to create engaging dashboard. To achieve that, we did several things. So first of all, the first thing, we work on the layout. Now inside Web Intelligence, we have layout, which is the canvas used where you place your informations, your block, your chart, your table, that can fit easily and precisely the size of your screen, right? That's the case here in my demonstration. Second thing, we have a new, we call this component called widgets. This is a new chart library that we propose by default in Webit engines next to the existing charts. So this is an add and not a replacement, which means that all your existing report will work as is in BI 2025. But if you want, next to the existing table, next to existing charts that you provide, that you have provided, for example, since 4.0 and including BI 4.3, we have a new library based on SAP UI5. We call this widgets, and the widgets will allow you to build this. We have a widget that of type images where you can select whatever you want to insert in your dashboard. We have a widget called rich text. Rich text is important because this gives you the ability to enter complex string in your dashboard. You can achieve whatever you want by using the interface or by using HTML directly. We support HTML tags into this rich text widget, which give me the kind of things here. You can use icon with guided navigation. That's what you have here in the screen. And now let's navigate into this dashboard to access the first dashboard. This is the first example of a dashboard. And here we enter in the core of the enhancement provided with the BI 2025. First thing we provide to all of you is filters in the report, in the dashboard. We have tokens used here that you can click to display different kind of things that you have predefined. For example, right? We have checkbox that let you choose, for example, the year that you would like to use and to filter in your dashboard again. And this really to put the interactions at the fingertips of your end user. You have drop-down list here that let you choose again, for example, a list of stores. Another kind of example here, I can deselect everything. So this is really to avoid to have all the filters in the interface. Now the filters are really part of your dashboard. You have new widgets of type charts, for example, that you can use to zoom in, zoom out. Well, it's not the case here. I'm going to add more information. Let me do this quickly. Here we go. I have to add more things. I think it is this one. Tac. Here we go. Yes. Don't know why this is not okay. Okay, never mind. So this is just to propose you new interactions inside the dashboard. So one thing we did, you know what a tooltip are, right? A tooltip is a small space where you can get details on the data point selected. We introduced in BI 2025 custom tooltip, for example, which means that you can decide what the data tooltip will display. For example, you can decide to, for a given data point, to display a simple chart in the context of your data point, and the context is given in the uppercase, in the upper part of the tooltip here, 2 pockets for the year 2018 Q1, and this is a simple bar chart. But you can go one step further and display multiple charts, right? And to enable that, here we go. Here I have a complex tooltip composed of multiple charts. And the good thing is, okay, I have to add more information because it seems that I'm having less than expected. I'm going to repeat my test. Everything is, oh, no data. Why no data? Whoa. No data. If I select all again, this is a demo effect. Here we go. Okay, so everything can remain interactive within this custom tooltip, and if you want, you can even achieve tooltip, custom tooltip on custom tooltip if you want to reach the next level of details. In fact, everything is possible, and to enable that, you don't have to write a single line of code. This is provided by default with the tool by selecting the right options in the interface. The second thing we did, and this is still related to the new widgets, we have now scrollable table. So you don't have to generate a report with multiple pages. Everything can fit on the screen thanks to this scrollable table here, for example. Inside this scrollable table, we propose you the options to insert microcharts for the measures. And here is an example. We have 4 types of microcharts composed of bullets. Here you have pie chart, bullet chart, and RVable. So again, to enable that, this is just a matter to select the right options. And you have a new kind of component called the show hide. They let you choose what you want to display. Here I have 2 options, but you can have multiple show hide options that will display different parts of your dashboard when you need it, when your user is requesting it. Last but not least, I mentioned the layout. We have all kinds of layout. We even propose you by default layout for a smartphone or a layout for a tablet. The fact is, you will be able to design a dashboard that will perfectly fit the screen of a smartphone of your tablet. And again, you benefit of all the interaction proposed by the new BI 2025. If I come back to my first dashboard, and this is part of the demo, let me check the time. Yes, 8 minutes. I mentioned that you have a new web intelligence document extract. Today, if you want to share information, you just have to click export and you choose. You have the choice between Excel, PDF, HTML, TXT, CSV. With the BI 2025, we introduce a new format, and this is really powerful. We call this the web intelligence document extract, WIDX. This is composed of a file. You choose, for example, one dashboard. You select this one, the current one being displayed. You click on export, and this will generate a file which is completely disconnected from business objects. The file will contain the data, the layout, the views, the table, the filters in the dashboard, right? Everything in one file. I have to leave it to show you the result. Here, the GBO DMI1, blah, blah, you click on keep. This will generate a zip file. Here we go. And if you unzip this file, I did it previously. This is the zip file, and if you unzip it, this will give us the content. And inside, we have not listing, apologize for that. I want the dashboard. Here, this will give this context and the WIDX document itself. And if you double click on it, this will open the WIDX file, which is really an extract of your dashboard, everything. And it's the analogy I'm using is it's a kind of PDF file, but with one page, but with interactions. And this is really what you are getting. So this is pretty much the same dashboard, and now I can continue to play with it. And this file is disconnected from business objects. You don't have to log in, right? And once you have generated this WIDX file, you can share it with whoever you want, which means that you can take it and place it on a shared folder, on Google Drive, on Microsoft OneDrive. You can even use it for an internal portal or an external portal. And again, the good thing is this is really part of your licensing, which means that this is for free, right? You don't have to pay for additional licenses for that. This is part of a licensing model. Okay, the Redix. Now, if I show you quickly how you can achieve that quickly, if I enter the Redix mode, I will explain. I will show you a blank report. So we introduce new panels on the right to be this kind of dashboard. We have a new query panel here on the left that will let you select the data source you need, right? We have the new layout panel here. I have a layout by default, which is small monitor. You can select page, envelope, monitor, which is what I'm using. This can be a small monitor, a very small monitor, type 2. You choose. We have mobile, large mobile, small mobile, very small mobile, you choose, and tablet. If you are not happy with the default layout we are proposing, you can even change this because we propose you custom layout. So to access this, you click on it, and now you can specify precisely in pixels, in centimeters, or in inches by keeping the ratio 16:9 or 4:3, or portrait and landscape. You define your choice, whatever you want. And last but not least, on the left, now you have the new widgets represented by this icon. So I'm going to insert, for example, a new scrollable table right here. I'm going to give it a decent size, for example, this. Here we go. And that. I'm going to do the filling. This is still on the right. I'm going to say query one. I'm going to add, let's say, I don't know, all this information. Here we go. All the measure on account. Here we go. I would like to display my measures as this microchart. So I go in the formatting area. I choose here. I choose discount. I would like this to be a bar chart. Done. I would like margin to be a bullet chart. Done, etc., etc. So this is really easy. Quantity sold. I would like this to be an R variable. And here we go. So you have everything. Now, doing that, I'm going to add a small filter quickly. Filter, I'm going to select a multi-list here. Again, I'm going to resize this. Done. Done. And we'll have the filter to be based on the category. So I'm choosing the feeding category this way. And here we go. This is done. And last but not least, I'm going to add a quick an image. So for an image, I think this is this area. I have the widget called image. I'm going to add it here. Oh, drag and drop again. I'm going to upload an image. I'm going here, browse. I'm going to select this one, put this, a banner. Here we go. I would like to make it normal. And again, I resize this nicely. Here we go. Pretty much in a few clicks, I've created a small dashboard. We save this. I would like to make it visible. And I'm going to now export this as a Redix. Export this as a Redix, the blank report, export. And now this is going to be outputted as a standalone dashboard, completely disconnected. I would like to keep it. I'm going to open the folder. Sorry, this is the wrong place. This is download. The last one, this one. Extract all. Okay. And this will end my demo. So the extraction is pretty long because of the antivirus. But once we'll have this,
maybe we can take advantage of this time to answer some questions I was not able to, specifically regarding WebEx.
Okay.
But the first one is not on WebEx. Is it possible to provide any Webby content in the Launchpad, or are there restrictions?
No, you can.
So no restrictions.
No restrictions. Okay. The unzip is done. If I double click on this, the WebEx document now, I will get my dashboard, the one that I have just created. And that's it, right? This contains the data. This contains my scrollable table and the filter to focus on T-shirt or not everything. Here we go. And this is filter. So as you can see, this is really powerful. I didn't even have to define the link between my widget of type filter and the scrollable table. This is done by default, because you still can choose what you want to filter in the design mode. But as you can see, this is really easy to put in place and to use. So this will mark the end of my demo, short demo. I would like to remind all of you that we have much more capabilities in BI 2025. And I really encourage all of you to look at the different publications that we made where we detail all the innovations included into the BI 2025. I would like to thank you all for your attentions, and that's it from my side. Thank you.